You're joining
Recording
us
in progress.
very curious because this program is offered essentially worldwide, and we'd like to know where we have visitors from today. Yeah. Hi, Kalyani, how are you? And Erie, Pennsylvania. For the folks in India, can you tell us what part, what town, what province, state? Bangalore? Paraguay. Wonderful. South Africa. Hello. So our audience is heavily from India today, but we do have folks from Nigeria, South Africa, Paraguay, and South America. So welcome to everyone. Japan, I think that's the first time I've seen someone join one of our webinars from Japan. So very welcome to you. And Canada, let's get started. China, welcome. So I'm going to switch over the chat to just host and panelists. But if you continue to put your information in, we'll be able to see it here, Purushottam and I. And let me introduce myself. I'm Stuart Creek. I'm with Simplilearn. We are the delivery partner with Caltech for this program, the postgraduate program in cloud computing. And Purushottam here is one of our senior instructors. I'll introduce him in a moment.
Hi.
We'll talk about your cloud computing careers. We're going to ask you a few questions along the way about you and the audience, so please watch out for those polls. We'll talk about how Caltech Center for Technology and Management Education can help you become job ready for cloud computing. We'll mention some learner outcomes, and we'll go over enrollment steps. We'll engage you in a Q&A with Purushottam toward the end of the session. So please put your questions for him into the Q&A function within Zoom. That way we'll keep them separate from the chat and we'll be able to find them more easily. So let me start with a question for our audience. And this question is, how much experience do you have in the workplace? Are you currently studying for your degree, or are you in the workforce? And if so, how long? And I'll just leave this open for about another 10 seconds. It's a pretty straightforward question. So please let us know. And I'll close the poll in 3, 2, 1. So about a quarter of our audience are currently studying for the degree, and the rest of you are fairly evenly divided between people who are fairly new in the workplace and people who have more than 5 years experience. That helps orient us to who's here, what your concerns will be. And please put those questions into the Q&A box so that we can address them in the Q&A. Simplilearn is the world's #1 online boot camp. This is the reason why Caltech chose us to help them deliver this program. We have been doing this for 13 years and have helped 5 million professionals in 150 countries upskill in the digital economy. We specialize in digital skills, and we deliver the skilling programs solely online. So you are able to access them from anywhere you have an internet connection and a web browser. And we're, as I said, extremely proud to be working with Caltech on this and several of their other skilling programs. So, Purushottam, I would love for you to introduce yourself, tell us about your background, and maybe a little bit about how you got to where you are in cloud computing.
Sure. Thank you, Stuart. Yeah. Sorry. So, yes. Good morning and good evening, everyone out here. Yeah. So, I'm Dr. Purushottam Asudani, and I'm working as an assistant professor in Information Technology Department in Sri Ramdev Baba College of Engineering and Management, Nagpur, Maharashtra, India. And I specialize in cloud computing, Microsoft Azure, AWS, and operating systems. I am a Google Scholar, certified trainer, Microsoft certified trainer, AWS certified trainer, corporate trainer, 3 times certified on AWS, Microsoft Azure certified, AWS certified trainer, Microsoft Azure certified trainer, guys. And I've done my PhD in cloud computing, in resource scheduling in cloud from VIT Vellore. And yeah, so I've been associated with Caltech through Simplilearn from quite some years, and also associated with many IITs in India for delivering their programs in cloud computing. And yeah, so I started my journey in cloud way back in 2015, and then I did my research also in cloud. And so that's how I am into cloud and doing great here. So have delivered multiple corporate trainings with multiple consultancies. That includes a lot of them like Vodafone UK, Mercedes-Benz R&D clients, and there are many, and have delivered trainings in across India, outside of India. Yeah, so really passionate about cloud computing and into cloud from quite some time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I appreciate that. And let's talk about careers in cloud computing, because that's, I think, why the folks in our audience are here today. And so cloud really has, from something that didn't exist 20 odd years ago, it's become essentially an integral part of all of our lives, not just the economy, but our personal lives. Is that not true?
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. So of course, yeah. Go ahead.
So can you kind of take us through what cloud does for us today? What the technology, starting off as shared computing, how it's changed, and how it, what the kinds of services are that cloud provides to people today.
Correct. Yeah. Sure. So it all started with grid computing, distributed computing, and then we have emerged to cloud computing. So see, basically, whatever we do it on the on-premises, let it be your servers, your databases, your network. So everything you have it in the cloud, everything. Okay. And the best part is that in cloud, there is nothing called as capital expenditure. I'll just give you an example. Let's say if you want to have your own data center or your servers on premises, then you would order them, and then they will come to your place. You will install security updates on them. You will patch those servers. So it would take like 10 to 12 days to have your server up and running. In cloud, you can just create a server that is a virtual server in matter of minutes. And plus, you don't even have to own that physical infrastructure. You don't even have to own that physical server, okay, on which your virtual server will be getting created. So there is no capital expenditure which you used to have in the on-premises. Plus, there is no there is just operational expenditure, and plus you can create your servers from any point in time in the day or night, sitting at any place across the globe. You can create your server at any different location and can start working on it. And it has the great advantage of elasticity also. Like if you have created a server and you are using it just for 2 hours, and then you feel like you don't need it anymore, you just terminate it and you just have to pay for 2 hours. Correct. So that's the best part of it. So
excuse me, sorry for that.
Sure.
Go ahead.
So Yeah. So that's the best part of it. Correct. So, guys, and apart from that, see, it's written SaaS, PaaS. So, even like you can create servers in cloud, you can use it in an infrastructure as a service manner, or SaaS based manner, or PaaS based manner. So, if you use it in a platform as a service manner, so then you don't even have to manage those virtual servers also. Like you can just concentrate on your business. Like let's say Netflix hosted on AWS, correct? Amazon. So they are just taking care of their business, like the entertainment business. So if you host your infrastructure in a PaaS based manner, so you don't even have to manage your infrastructure, and that would be managed by the cloud provider. So you can just concentrate on your core business. So yeah, it has become the backbone of digital economy, because there is no capital expenditure. So not even just the startups, but even the established companies are moving towards cloud, guys, because of no capital expenditure, because of great security, and because of global reach as well. And there are so many features for anything that you ask, or whether it is IoT, machine learning, or anything. Yeah. So it's a great boon to be in the cloud era.
Yeah, I mean, even if you aren't an entrepreneur or a corporation that's using the cloud to deliver your services, we all are familiar with how the cloud empowers us with our mobile devices, with things like the cloud storage of our photographs and other data. It's interesting that Apple apparently recently said that they're not going to continue to offer free cloud storage of photos and Apple Photo service. Um, it kind of speaks to how big of a part of our lives it is that so many people are upset about that. But we kind of all assume that we're going to get these kinds of things for free because cloud has made it so available to everybody. And you can see here from the statistics that the spending on cloud computing is jumping into the range of total gross national product of small countries, $500 billion on software as a service. Looking at public cloud spending, going almost to $750 billion in 2025 worldwide. So this is a huge and growing industry, and there's really no reason to think that it's going to slow down, is there?
It's going to even increase more.
Yeah. We look at different potential career paths for people who come into cloud computing, and what's the kind of entry point that somebody would start in this field, and where are the places they could go?
Yeah. So shall I
You
speak
could tell
something?
us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would ask you which of these roles is the place where people would most likely start,
Yeah.
and where would they go from there?
Sure. Right. So when you are into cloud, so initially I would suggest you would start as a cloud engineer. Okay. So if you have got some good knowledge on cloud, let's say the basic certifications like practitioners in AWS practitioner or Azure fundamentals, you can start your role as a cloud engineer. And then if you are more focused towards the development part of the things, if you're interested in coding part of the things, then you can opt for becoming a cloud developer. So like you can go for the subsequent certifications, like from Azure, you can go with AZ204, that is Azure Developer Associate, or AWS Developer Associate, and then you can become a cloud developer as well in those domains. Then if you're not towards the coding side, maybe, or if you're an experienced guy and you're working on an architect role, or maybe like having good number of years of experience, so you can actually become a cloud architect. And for that, you have good certifications in AWS as Azure AWS Architect, Solutions Architect Associate, and Solutions Architect Professional, which actually I've done. And then in Azure side, you have Azure Architect as well. That is AZ305. Okay. Right, guys. So then apart from that, there are specialty certifications also in cloud. Like if you are on the database end, so you can go for, I mean, if you are interested in the backend stuff and a database part of it, so you can become a database administrator. Okay. And there are good number of certifications for database specialty in AWS, in Azure. Correct. Then apart from that, uh, if you are a security guy, if you are interested in the security part of the things, if you are interested in cryptography, network security, so of course, it is also in huge demand. You can become a cloud security engineer. And so you again have good number of certifications related to that, like AWS security specialty associate, yeah, or network engineer, you can become with that. Then apart from that, uh, if you are into the automation side, you can go and become a DevOps engineer, wherein you can create your complete pipeline, that is continuous integration, continuous deployment pipeline. Okay, CI/CD pipeline into cloud. So like you can do it with your open source tools like Jenkins, Maven, Terraform. In the same way, cloud also provides its own proprietary tools as well. Like AWS has its own tools like code commit, code deploy, code pipeline, and so on. Similarly, Azure also has it. Correct. So the point is, guys, you can get into all these roles, and for getting into all these roles, you should have good knowledge around these roles, and there are specific certifications from different cloud providers for the said roles. You can go and, I mean, you can study and clear those kind of certifications, and it becomes very much possible for you to get into these roles after that. So and just to put somewhat more into it, like you can, like, today is the era of multi clouds. Okay, so basically if you want to become a cloud engineer or cloud developer or cloud architect or any of these roles, it is always preferred that you should have knowledge on multi cloud platforms, not just single cloud platform. Like if I talk about the public cloud platforms, then the market leaders as per the Gartner, which is the research organization, so AWS and Azure, even GCP are the leading players in the market. Okay, so it's better if you want to be into cloud, you should learn not just about one cloud platform, but you should learn at least about two cloud platforms, like at least AWS and Azure. And if you are into that, then there are good you have good scope of getting into these roles, because there is a reason behind that. Like let's say if any company wants to move towards cloud, so let's say the public cloud, so the first choice for them is let's say AWS or Azure. So they'll use some services from AWS, some from Azure, some from another cloud platform. So that way, multi-cloud is the era. And if you know about these cloud platforms like AWS, Azure, GCP, the market leaders, so you have a good future ahead into the cloud domain, I would say. Yeah.
Thank you very much. It takes
Thank
us
you.
through, the kinds of places you can go in this career. You look at cloud developers, cloud engineers with salary ranges that are average around 10 lakh per year, on up to 22. These are just figures from Glassdoor. So these are surveys of salaries in India. And you look at cloud architects, where you could move into your career as you gain experience and more skills. 20 lakh average up to 33. Do you see these as fair numbers, or are you seeing different numbers out in the marketplace?
I have seen people getting more than what the numbers are mentioned here. Like one of my friends, he's an Amazon, he's an architect. Okay, and he's with good experience, and he's earning around 60 lakhs per annum. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
these numbers are actually like I've seen people getting more than these what the numbers are shown here.
yeah, and it is interesting, because even if you look at Glassdoor and you see these ranges that top out at these levels, then you look at the job offerings or job openings that are there, and the salary ranges that are listed sometimes are well above these. So again, this is a career field where people can quickly move into a very lucrative, good paying career. So to do that, you've got to have the kinds of skills that range across all the different aspects. You talked a little bit about the notion that somebody who wants to be a cloud practitioner should understand not just one of the platforms, but several of them. In the same way, how important is it to understand all of the different aspects of cloud computing, managing, and deploying cloud solutions?
Yeah. So see, basically, if you want to be a cloud practitioner, so you don't have to be the master of all these skills, but then you have to be jack of all. Like you should be aware about the different services that are there. But as you go ahead and you become either a developer, I mean, you go for developer certification or architect level certification, then you deep dive into the things and you get more understanding on these things. Okay. More hands-on, more understanding onto the things. But yes, if you want to be a practitioner also, so yes, the high-level aspects of all these services of all these domains is a must. You should be knowing about it. So cloud provider selection, of course, if your company wants to move towards cloud, so which cloud they should opt for which particular service. Okay, so you should give them the optimum choice of which cloud provider selection you should be going for. And then of course for application migration, so you can move all of your on-premises applications towards cloud. There are different services like you have in Azure you have app migration. Then in AWS also you have the service for that. Then, of course, for testing also, you have different things. So you should know how to do performance testing, cloud workloads, identity access management. So this is interesting, identity access management, especially for the administrators. So if your company is in the cloud and you have multiple employees working in your organization, and so you want to have multiple accounts for your multiple employees in your root account in AWS. So that can be done. You can create multiple IAM users with identity and access management, and you can grant them different policies, different roles, so that they are just being assigned the access to the services that they need. Let's say, for example, if a person is working as a network administrator, if an employee is working as a network admin, so he should be given access to only the networking services and not maybe the access to database services. So you can just grant them those kind of privileges. Okay, so you need to follow the principle of least privilege here. Like whatever the role a particular person is performing in the organization, give him the access to those many resources only, not less than that, not more than that. So that can be very easily done with identity access management. So your administrators play a vital role to learn this service and to use it that way. Correct. And then you have auto scaling. So auto scaling, of course, we all know like the load on the websites normally is not the same. Let's take an example of Flipkart, Amazon. So during their sale days, guys, the load on their website is not the same. It shoots up. Okay. So like Amazon's Great Indian Sale, Flipkart Big Billion Days. So let's say if that website, Amazon website is running on hypothetically, let's say 100 servers. So during sale days, when the load increases on their website, let's say if all the 100 servers are more than 90% utilized, so then what should happen? More number of servers should be created, because if that doesn't happen, guys, then what will happen? The website performance will go down or the website may crash also. So the point is that more number of servers should be created, and they should be created automatically without user intervention, without manual intervention. They should be created automatically to handle the additional load. Okay. So that can be done with auto scaling feature in AWS, in Azure. Plus, when the demand is less, when the sale days are over, so those additional servers may not be required because the load on the servers is less. Let's say less than 10% or 20% CPU utilization on them. So those additional servers should be deleted or terminated as well. Correct. So that can also be done in an automated manner with auto scaling. And so that reduce on your cost. So you don't have to pay for them when not required. And when you need it, it would be auto created. So of course, these are the aspects that you can do actually by learning or getting into cloud, how you can do all these things in cloud out there. Apart from that, yeah, disaster recovery. So an important aspect, disaster recovery. Let's say if your website is hosted just in in some region on a server out there, and God forbid, guys, if there is a disaster in that region, so if the entire region goes down, then your data would also go down. But in disaster recovery, what you do is you replicate your data in across the regions, in different regions. Okay, so even if one region is down, is not working, still you can have access to your data, to your servers from another region. Okay, so that's the best part of it. So of course there are good services, like you have Azure Recovery Services Vault. In fact, in AWS you have cross region replication with S3 buckets. So those, of course, you learn when you study into cloud, correct? Then of course web services and API, application programming interface, to take care of interacting with the cloud, and then web services with which you can host your web servers in cloud. Then cloud migration and deployment. So almost everything you can migrate it into cloud. Like let's say if it is server migration, database migration, app migration, so all of that you can actually migrate it into cloud. There are multiple services available for that as well. For databases, again, it supports. So when I talk about database, guys, gone are the days when you used to have just the a traditional relational database only, that takes care of all your needs, like one size fits all. That is not quite the case right now. You have different types of data, like you have relational data. For that, you have relational databases taking care of. You have NoSQL data, like without relations, like NoSQL means spreadsheet data, Excel data, right? So you have NoSQL databases that are taking care of those relations, wherein you don't have the restriction on the schema. You can easily change the schema. Plus you have let's say, take the example of Facebook. So you have different relations in Facebook. Like if you are friends to somebody, it will give you the suggestion, like you can make friends to this person also, because he's friend to your friend. So those are the graph based relations. So those are called as graph DB. So for graph DB, again, you have the good services in the cloud, like you have Amazon Neptune. For NoSQL databases, you have Cosmos DB in Azure. You have DynamoDB in AWS. For relational databases, you have RDS, Relational Database Service in AWS. You have MySQL in Azure. Correct. So there are many different types of databases available, guys. Correct. So the point is that uh, when I talk about database management, it's not just about one type of data. For all different types of data, you have solutions in the cloud. For big data also, you have. Okay, so that are all there for analysis purpose as well. You have big data. Then multi-cloud, as I already told you, multi-cloud deployment, it supports. You can even you can move your data from one cloud platform to another cloud platform. You can connect your networks from one cloud to another cloud platform with VPN, VNet gateway service. Okay, so that's all possible. And when I talk about storage services, so very important, storage services comes in all different certifications that you would appear in any of these public cloud platforms. So the point is, in storage services, you have a solution for object-based storage. Like if you want to store your images, audios, videos, object-based data, you have a solution for that, like S3 bucket in AWS, blob in Azure. Then if you have block-based data, wherein you can install your operating system files or your softwares. Correct. So you have block-based storage devices. So for that, the solution is Elastic Block Storage in AWS. You have page blobs in Azure. Correct. So that is there. Plus you have shared storage, like one storage you want to share it with multiple virtual machines. So you can use that as well. For that, you have EFS in AWS for Linux machines, a shared storage, FSX for Windows machines, FSX Luster fast storage for Linux machines. Then you have in Azure also, file share in Azure for the shared storage, of course. Yes. So yeah, so these skills you learn and you should be knowing about it then.
Yeah. So this is from that discussion, we you get the idea that there's an awful lot to know about cloud. That you need to be aware of all these different aspects of it. As you said at the beginning, it's not necessarily that you to be a master practitioner in each of these areas, but knowing about all of these areas and how they interact will make you effective if you choose to design and implement a cloud solution, or if you choose to specialize in something like cloud DevOps and particular things like cloud security. you'll understand all the other aspects that you need to know. Oops, going wrong way. So let's ask another question for our audience, and this one is, uh, presumably you have looked at various programs because you're interested in qualifying for a cloud computing career. What has stopped you? What are the things that have been lacking in programs that you've looked at? So is it because you haven't found something that can cover the kinds of skills and tools comprehensively, as Purushottam described? Is it because you don't feel you would get the practical experience and experience examples that you use to show your new skills, because you find the learning style difficult with other programs? Or is it because you don't feel that you have the time to pursue this in your work schedule? And I'll leave this open just for another 5 seconds. Please hit the submit button, and I'm closing the poll now. And for today's audience, all 4 reasons are very important, with the practical exposure and the scheduling being the most important of the group. But I see that there's a balance of concerns about the different areas. So let's talk about this program. And this program is, again, industry aligned learning path. Got integrated labs and hands-on projects for practical experience, online live virtual classrooms so that you're learning with the help of an instructor, so that you can interact with your peers, ask them, what did you get from this lesson, or how did you approach this problem? And then being able to work on your own schedule. And this program is the postgraduate program in cloud computing from Caltech's Center for Technology and Management Education. So it's an 11-month program. Ask people to devote 10 to 15 hours a week between the live classes and the work that you do to prepare for those classes. You're doing classes, first time when you're doing a class with live environment, you're taking the learners through these hands-on exercises, code samples, and not only demonstrating them, but actually having them do that with you. Is that correct?
Exactly correct. Yeah. So I believe in like we do it along. So the learners normally do it many of the exercises along with me. Okay, and apart from that, the hands-on is not just like normal simple labs, but we do scenario-based labs wherein you get an output and you come to understand why you got that and you feel good about it, because this is end-to-end things that we do, scenario-based labs, and that can actually help you in your real-time working also. So there are 2 aspects: getting you prepared from the certification point of view, but more than that, it is like how it would help you in your real-time working when you are into projects, when you are working on that technology. Correct. And the classes are anyways like 8 live classes are 8 hours, I think a week is correct. And then the other time they can spend learning the self-learning videos and preparing on what has been discussed in the live classes. Correct.
Right. And the platform is available to learners 24/7. So aside from the scheduled class times where you meet with your instructor and your fellow learners, the rest of the week, anytime that you have available to you to do your additional projects, labs, preparation, you can do that at any time, day or night. Um, you have the platform that supports your virtual lab environment, so you don't have to build your own private lab, or you don't have to subscribe to uh, cloud computing accounts. This is all built into the program and the platform, so that everything you need to have is available to you. Tim will be able to share that with us in a bit. At the end of this process, once you've completed the core courses and the final project, you will receive a certification from Caltech, and you will have over 40 projects in your portfolio, things that you have done during the course that you will then be able to show off to other people. If you are in an industry or an environment where you need to provide proof of continuing education, Caltech can issue you up to 30 CEUs, continuing education units, so that you can use that to prove your work to your employer or to any regulatory agency that might license you. There's also membership in their online Caltech CTME circle, which is online alumni association for people who have taken this type of program from Caltech CTME, whether it's cloud computing, data science, artificial intelligence. You get to network with those people, and Caltech runs special events online for their Caltech CTME circle. We also run an event with them for the convocation that recognizes you for completing the program. So you'll be able to invite your friends and family to see you being recognized by name for receiving your certificate. And finally, Simplilearn offers an additional benefit, which is Job Assist, and I will describe that in a little bit. But all of these come to you from completing this program. Talk a little bit about Caltech. Caltech has a justified worldwide reputation. It's been around for 130 years. It's a private school. It's not part of the University of California system or California State University system. It's an independent institution. Number of people have won Nobel Prizes for the research that they've done there. A number of people who won Nobel Prizes for work done elsewhere have come to Caltech to continue their work, and Caltech leads in many, many different areas of technology research and development. For example, they run the Jet Propulsion Laboratory for NASA, which means that they do, in fact, build the satellites and deep space probes that NASA uses and launches for research. Caltech consistently ranks in one of the top 5 universities worldwide. It is one of the most dense concentrations of brilliant people in the world. And so having this name on your CV is something that people will recognize. It has a worldwide pull. This particular program requires you to have a bachelor's degree with at least 50% marks. Do not have to have a bachelor's degree in technology programming. You don't have to have a programming coding background. This program doesn't require work experience, but work experience is always helpful in these types of things. So for those of you with work experience, that kind of adds to your ability to understand how cloud fits into the work environment, into the enterprise, and also gives you context for how you would use it in your industry. So, Purushottam, you work with people who come in from a non-programming background. How is it that they can absorb the skills that they need to be proficient in this technical field?
Yeah, sure. So see, basically, programming background is not a must if you want to be in cloud. There are few prerequisites that if you have, it's an added advantage. The prerequisites being some basic knowledge in operating systems, networking. Okay, I would suggest even in databases part. But even if you don't have it, in Simplilearn here, I personally take it up from the basics. Okay, and apart from that, you are being given some initial courses also that like some initial knowledge that you can go with. Plus, I take it up from the basics, and programming or coding background is not a must here. See, if you want to be a developer, in cloud, let's say if you want to go with AZ 204 Azure Developer Associate or AWS Developer Associate, then you should be having a good programming background. But then that is not a must skill, okay? Because you can be in cloud, you can do very well in cloud, even if you don't have a programming background there, because there are different roles. Okay, so you can be an architect, you can be an administrator, you can be a cloud engineer, okay? And these all things you can be into without having a good programming background. If even if you are from non-programming background, you can really excel in all these domains. Okay, so it's not a thing like if you're thinking that if you are from a non-programming background, maybe it is difficult to get into IT. That is not at all the case, because in cloud it has laterals for everybody and anybody. Like, you can be a DB engineer, you can be a network engineer, you can be an architect, you can be a admin associate. Of course, programming background is not required that much there. Yeah, if you want to be a developer, then of course programming background is required. Yes, so
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how the program prepares people in getting them ready, how it's structured, and how it takes you through this process. So start with the orientation session, which is basically to help people understand how to use this online platform, where to find their courses, what they can expect from the curriculum. Generally about a 2-hour orientation session that gets you ready to start your classes. And when you start moving into classes, there's the 3 core modules before the capstone. Can you take us through that and why they're structured in this way?
Yes, sure. Right. So see, when you start, it's like, first of all, you have the orientation section, which is from a professor from Caltech. And then, like, see, you have to get into the cloud journey. So as I told you, multi-cloud is what you should be learning. So that's why in this program, we are making the learners not just to be good in one public cloud platform, but in multiple cloud platforms. So we start our journey with AWS. And the first course after the orientation program that you opt for is AWS Solutions Architect Associate. Okay, in that you have the concepts plus the hands-on maybe scenario-based labs on AWS Solutions Architect Associate. So that gets you prepared to work in AWS domain and to get prepared for the certification on AWS Solutions Architect Associate. Once you finish that, then we touch the other cloud platform, that is the Microsoft Azure cloud platform, which are nothing but the market leaders, both AWS and Azure. So in Azure, we take up 2 courses basically. So we first opt for the admin, Azure administrator, because let me tell you, there are a lot of hands-on activities in Azure administrator that one should go into. Okay, so that is termed as AZ104. And again, we will have this Azure administrator course for 40 to 50 hours. And once you complete this, once you're good into this, then you get into the architect certification on Azure, that is designing Microsoft Azure Infrastructure Solutions, EZ305. And in this particular course, you learn about how you can design your solutions in Microsoft Azure, which services are useful. So basically here you make the design decisions. Let's say if there are a number of services to do a particular task, so which one will fit or which one will suit you based on your organization requirements, based on the budgets and the different aspects, which service you should go for. So you get familiar to that, you will be able to select that in your organization, correct? Yeah, so that is what we go into. And once you have these compulsory courses done, cleared all of them, like completed in the sense you submit the project, anyways, we'll come to that during the LMS demo part. So once you have those, clear these courses in Simplilearn by completing the projects and attendance criteria, then you can actually go and get into the cloud computing capstone project. Again, that would be mentored by an instructor. And once you complete that cloud computing capstone project, then you receive the coveted certificate from Caltech University. And that is the postgraduate program in cloud computing. And apart from that, after completing all these courses, you will get the certificate from Simplilearn. And the criteria for completing the courses are you have to complete the project assignments plus the attendance you'll have to maintain. Correct. Yeah. So that's how it goes through. Plus, there are the elective sections, as you can see out there. So, guys, these electives are not the compulsory ones. So, if you have to clear this program, well, these completing these electives are not compulsory. But if you want to learn more, of course, so you can opt for any or all of these electives. Of course, you can go for it. In that, you can go in DevOps on Cloud, Google Cloud, platform architect training also. Anyways, the third cloud included here, AWS data migration, SysOps associate, AWS developer associate, Microsoft Azure developer associate, that is AZ204, and then the Caltech Cloud Computing Academic Masterclass also, that would be conducted by the professors in Caltech from Caltech, right? So
Yep.
yes, you can opt for those also.
Right. And
Any or all of them.
They're all included in the cost of the program, so that there's no extra cost to take any of the electives. As you just said, Purushottam, people can take any one or all of them at their own discretion based on their interest and their amount of time that they have available. So that's a good way for you to essentially kind of customize the program to your particular needs. So during this program, as you mentioned, people are using these different tools and dozens more that they need to be able to use for the exercises, for the projects. And as they're using them, they're not only hearing about them or watching you demonstrate them, they're actually employing the tools in their own virtual lab environment, right?
Yeah,
Is that the
sorry.
case?
Yeah, yes. So correct, of course. They just demonstrate all of these, like when they'll be doing the labs or when they'll be doing the projects, they come across all these services, and it's not just the instructor showing them, but they'll be doing it as well, and they'll be making use of all the different services to create to accomplish their labs, to complete their labs plus the project requirement. Okay, so like you have if I would put some light on few of the services that are being mentioned here. So like if you want to create servers in cloud, like say AWS, you have Amazon EC2 service, Elastic Compute Cloud, which is offered in an infrastructure as a service mode, IaaS. Okay, then if you want to have a NoSQL database in AWS, you can go for Amazon DynamoDB service that can give you that. Then if you want to create a serverless application, like wherein you want to just write a function by putting your code there, and you don't want to create yourself the infrastructure, the server, so you can just make use of AWS Lambda. That is a serverless application wherein you don't have to provision the server, but the underlying infrastructure, the servers that are required, that would be created and managed by Amazon at the backend. So for you, it is serverless in nature. Then, of course, if you want to have object-based storage, you want to store your audios, videos, files, raw data in let's say AWS. So you have Amazon S3 service, that is simple storage service to do that. Then, of course, on the Azure end, everything that you use is or you create the resources in Azure Resource Manager model. Okay, then if you want to have if you have loosely coupled applications, if you have microservices based applications, small applications, so you can host them. Or you can create them using the container service. For that, you learn the containers and Kubernetes in the cloud. Of course, they are included in the architect certifications, the containers Kubernetes part. Okay, so that you can opt for. Then, of course, that is there in Azure, and there are many more services, guys, apart from these. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And as we said, when you are learning about them, you're learning about them by using them. So
correct.
you create artifacts for your portfolio, and the final artifact for your portfolio is the capstone project that Purushottam has mentioned a couple of times, which is taking a challenge from a real world business problem, kind of business case that you would have to solve if you were in the working world, and you get to choose from different industry domains the one you want to look at and work on, and this allows you then to build your solution over the course of several weeks with mentorship of your instructor. so that you have something you can point to and said, this is the problem I chose to work on. This is how I solved it. This is the solution I built. And it becomes something that you can show off to potential employers or to your current employer for justifying a job uh, increase, promotion, or a raise in salary. This is really one of the best parts of the program, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. So as I said, all those services, you do the hands-on, and then you learn, you do labs, you do projects, and of course the capstone project, as rightly stated. So it will have multiple clouds in picture. When you do capstone project, you have the services coming in from Azure, from AWS. You use them, you create your solution, and of course there's a mentor who will help you out in that. And yes, and once you do it, you will feel good about it, guys, and you can have very well show it in your portfolios, and you know it while you're showing it in your portfolios. You are very much aware of it, and that can help you in a better sense to um, showcase it to the employers. Correct.
Yeah, and it builds on everything you've learned throughout the program. So as you're doing projects in each of the core modules and elective modules, you're gaining the experience you'll need to do the capstone project. So it's not you learn all of these pieces independently and then have to figure out how to put them together. You're building up to it throughout the course, throughout the program. Oh, again, sorry. So here's some examples of the kinds of projects that you'd be doing uh, during the course or during the capstone. Might build an online video subscription service. You might build a live doc application for healthcare. You might build the administrative and consumer facing parts of a restaurant application, or you might build an e-commerce application. All of these, again, you choose the areas that interest you most and you build your solution based on the problem description. So this is a sampling of the different projects that are available. But over the course of the program, you're doing about 40 projects. Is that right?
Not 40, but then yeah, every, yeah, you can say 40, because every course will have 3 to 4 projects, 3 to even 5 projects, out of which you do it along with the instructor, one of the projects at the end, and the other ones also you can try it out, because those contains those services that are in that particular course. So if you would talk about the compulsory courses plus the electives put together, every course having 3 to 5 projects plus the capstone project at the end, so yeah,
Yeah,
it would go to that number
yeah.
then. Yes.
Of the projects you're doing during the courses, they're not necessarily all as complex as these. Some of them are much smaller in scale, but then they all build up to these types of holistic projects that you do for the capstone. So you can be confident that you can show off your skills that way. And the Simply Learn uh, platform and services give you an ecosystem of support. So we have a program manager who acts to make sure that we're delivering this program to the specifications of Caltech, interacting with our Caltech program advisors. Um, when you join the program, you join with another group of people that form your cohort, and we assign a success manager to shepherd you through and make sure you're all staying on track and having the maximum chance of success. Of course, the instructors are responsible for that during each of the individual courses within the program. So instructors like Pershatom are working with you to help you through and successfully clear each course. You have access to support from your peers, from fellow learners, and you have, of course, the way the program is built with the curriculum, with the self-study resources, ebooks, videos, and other materials that help you prepare for each live class and help you follow up each live class with the labs, projects, and other review materials. So this, again, is an ecosystem of success that helps people uh, maximize their chance of earning that certificate successfully. At this point, Purushottam, I'm going to ask that you share with us your screen and show us how this learning environment works.
Sure. Thank you.
So allow me to stop sharing mine.
Okay, I'm just sharing it.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it's visible.
It is.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, so I'll just go through this learning management system. So this is the LMS, right, guys? And we have postgraduate program in cloud computing here in the university programs. And let me go inside this. So if I go in this program, so as you can see in the prerequisites, you have some prerequisites out here. Okay, but then when you go into the courses part of the section, you see the orientation session from Caltech PGP Cloud Program. If you get inside this particular thing, so you will see that there is a self-learning video that is there from the instructor already there. Okay, pre-recorded session. And plus apart from that, guys, sorry, apart from that, you have the live learning classes section here. So here you will see the recording of the class that would be conducted, okay, here. And once you complete this, then there is a certificate section. You can unlock that certificate. So you need to have attended 80% or more live sessions of this live class, and then you will be able to unlock this certificate. Now, this is about the orientation session, which would be conducted by the professors from Caltech. Okay, then you have the first course starting, that is on AWS Solutions Architect Associate. As I told you, if you go inside this particular course, guys, I will tell you a few good important things here. So first tab, as you can see here, is the self-learning section. So in this self-learning section, if you'll go, you will have the pre-recorded sessions of some good trainer already here, okay, for all the different modules that you can have here. Okay, so pre-recorded sessions of the a good trainer is available here. Then you come to the live class. So in the live classes, guys, you will see the lecture recordings of your live classes. So the live classes that you'll be going through, you will see the lecture recordings of those live classes in the live classes tab here. You will see that in my classes. If you have attended some past class, so you will see it in past class as well. Okay.
I just want to, if I may clarify that when you go into this section, you see the schedule of classes that you're about to attend, that are scheduled in the future, and then the past classes tab shows you recordings of classes that you have attended, or if you missed it, it's still there for you to review. So you're able to see your upcoming class schedule, join your classes from here, and then watch the recordings afterwards. So it's a live interaction.
Yeah, correct. So, yeah, so past classes will show you the recordings, and then the my classes will show you that which classes are upcoming. Let's say if you have a class on this weekend, so you will see the link to here from where you can join in as well. Okay, so that is there. And apart from that, you have the assessment section. So as I told you, there'll be projects at the end. So as I told you, there can be multiple projects. So as you can see here, you have 3 projects. You have rather 5 projects here. Plus you have the 3 assessments, like the assignments here. So guys, I mean, out of these projects, one can be done in your last class during the mentoring session, plus the others you can try it out from the concepts you have learned, or the labs that you have done during your course, and plus these assignments you can solve them. Okay, so that is there out here. Apart from that, you have this reference material sections. In that, you have the ebooks plus the data files. Okay, so you can just download them all, and you can have it. So see, if I download it, I will have it here, downloaded ebooks, and then you can use it from your machine plus the data files. Okay. Apart from that, guys, even if the instructor has some more material to share it with you, he can share it with you on the community link. Okay, I'll come to the community link part later. So, but yes, here also you have this learning resources section that you can always explore from here. Okay. Fine. Then coming to the practice labs part, guys. So in practice labs, now see, as rightly stated by Stuart before that, you don't need to have your own personal AWS accounts or Azure accounts to do the lab in this course. Guys, even if you don't have your personal accounts, you can do the labs in this course with the sandbox environment that that Simplilearn provides you. So you can just, let's say you're into AWS, you can go to AWS or AWS Labs here, and then you can just say launch lab. Okay, and once you say launch lab, the lab will get launched. Okay, and you will get a username and password, and then you can just log in with that URL onto the console, and then you can start doing the labs there, even your project there. Okay, so yeah, so see here, it is out here. So you have the sign in link, then the username, then the password. So if you just copy the sign in link, maybe I can just show it to you. If you just go here and if you put it here, so you just get the link to AWS console, and then you can log in from there, guys. Okay, by putting in the username and the password. Okay, so you are here, and then once you copy the username, you can put it here, and then you can copy the password, and then you can put that as well, and you can get logged in into the AWS account. Okay, anyways, I'm not here to show you the demo on AWS, but this is how you can get logged in into your AWS account, guys, and you can start doing the different actions here. You can start using EC2 service, S3 service for storage, EC2 for creating the virtual machine. So you can see all these services for different domains, guys, and then you can start building on them. Developer tools, database, front end and media tools, game development, Internet of Things, machine learning, all different services, guys. You ask for anything, it will give you. Okay, so yes, you can use these labs from Simplilearn Labs here. You don't need to create your personal account, correct? And this all is included in your course fees. Okay, then you have certificate section as well. Okay, so once you fulfill this requirement of doing the projects and maybe completing your assessment, so you can unlock your certificate. So see, for the criteria for unlocking the certificate is that you need to complete one class. You need to complete at least 80% or more sessions of the live classes, or 85% of the self-learning videos, either of them. So 80% of the live classes or 85% of the self-learning videos, and you need to complete one project out of those 5 projects here, plus one simulation test, that is that assignment, with 60% marks at least. So once you fulfill these criteria, guys, you will be able to unlock this certificate from Simplilearn for AWS Solutions Architect Associate. Now, once you complete this, then you can opt for the other course, that is the Azure Administrator AZ104. Now, guys, it is also on the same lines. When you go to Azure Administrator, of course, so there also you have the self-learning section wherein you can actually see the already available recordings of some good instructor there. Okay, and then in the live classes, again, the same thing. In the past classes, you will see the live lecture recordings, plus in my classes, you can see the upcoming classes. Okay, that you can join from here. Then in assessments, you can see again, you have the projects. Okay, plus you can have the assignments as well. Okay, test papers as well. Apart, so you need to complete one assignment, one project, or all of them you can complete if you wish to. And then reference materials, you have ebooks, projects, lab guide, practices, cheat sheet, right? So you can download all of them. And yes, so that is there. And if you have to unlock the certificate here, so you need to again complete one either 80% of the live learning classes or 85% of self-learning videos, and you have to complete one project here in AZ104 Azure Administrator to actually unlock your certificate from Simplilearn for Azure Administrator, guys. And then you have, as I said, you have the practice labs in here also, which you can launch. And of course, when you launch Azure Labs, you get into the Azure environment. Okay, and you can start using Azure Console from here. So again, you don't need the personal Microsoft Azure account to do the labs in Microsoft Azure. You can very well easily do it from here. Right, guys. So that is again a point, right? So see here, it is getting started. And yes, of course, we may not wait here for that much time, but then of course on-demand lab will be ready in 6.53 minutes, guys. So it will be the same. You will get a link and then the username and password, and then you can log into Azure portal and then give your username and password, and you can start using your Azure account without having to do what? Without having to create your personal Azure account. Correct, guys? So that's the point. Okay. So that is the case. And yes, and this is about AZ104 now. Uh,
Yeah,
once
if you
you
could,
have this, yeah. Sorry,
I was going
come
to
again.
say, if you could show us the community and the help functions that
Yes,
support
yes,
people.
yes. Yeah. I'll just show it to them. So apart from this, see, there are other courses also, but then as rightly stated, you can see the community. So if now community feature in this, um, if you have you can interact with your peers. If you have some queries during weekdays or in weekends, you can put it on these community forums, and then your peers can answer, plus the support team from Simplilearn can answer you, plus the instructor can also collaborate here. Apart from that, if the instructor, let's say if I have to share some extra material with my learners here, I can create a new thread and I can put the material, and that would be accessible to my learners. Okay, they can download it as well. Yeah, so this is a very good thing, that you have this community forum where all of your batchmates, your peers can interact, plus the Simplilearn team, support team, and your trainer can also interact here with you. Okay, so that is again a good feature that you have in community links. Okay, so that's there. And yeah, in my resources, you can see like our some webinar is going. Likewise, you have a number of webinars out here, right, from different experts that you can attend from here as well, right, from my resources. Okay, then yeah, so that's there. Plus there is help. So this is, as Stuart was saying, you have 24/7 support. Okay, so you can just get started, and you can open your tickets. You can connect with the support team. Okay, they will help you out. You can chat with them. So you can say chat with us, and then you can start chatting, and then they will quickly get back to you. Like so yeah, so that's what so you have the support available with you all the time. Okay, you have the chatbot support as well here. Okay, so that's there. Yeah.
Yeah, and then as you described for each of the core courses, when you do your final certificate for that core course by
Yeah.
showing that you've done your classwork and your project and your
Mhm.
assessment work, then there's a similar process at the end where once you've completed all of the modules required, you can then unlock your final certificate from Caltech.
Yeah. Coming to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, so we were here actually. So after 104, you can go to 305, that is Azure Architect. And in that also, guys, you have the same thing, like you have self-learning videos, pre-recorded session from some good instructor. Then you have the live classes, of course. Okay, in that again you have the lecture recordings in the past classes and the upcoming classes in the my classes section. And then in the assessment, of course, if you go, you have the projects plus the assignments. You have reference material section you can download. Plus you have the practice labs available here, which you can opt for. So you don't need to create your personal Azure account. Okay. And then, of course, after that, to unlock the certificate for AZ305, you should have attended the same criteria, 80% of the live learning classes or 85% of the self-learning videos, plus one project you should have completed, which anyways would be mentored by the instructor on your last class of this course. And that once you complete and submit, you'll be able to unlock your certificate for AZ305 here from Simplilearn. And then after that, you go and you can opt for like cloud computing capstone project. So once you get into cloud computing capstone project, well, of course, there also you'll see the self-learning video, wherein the lecture recording of some good instructor and pre-recorded session of some good instructor and self-learning section. And then in live class, you will see the lecture recording of your live class in the past classes tab. And in that live class, the instructor will mentor you to complete your capstone project. So if you miss on something, maybe you can revisit the recording and can see to it, and then you can do the project as well. You can do it in the class as well. And these are the few projects that are there from which you can complete one, or if you're interested, you can complete all of them, guys. But one is mandatory, you have to complete that. The mentor will help you out to do it during the live session, right? You have the reference material ebook session. Apart from that, a practice lab here also, correct? So so now this is interesting. So here the practice labs you have the tab for Azure labs as well as AWS labs as well. Why? Because the capstone project will include the services from Azure labs as well as AWS labs. Okay, and once you complete that, guys, then you can, so you need to complete 80% of live class and plus this project, and then you will be able to unlock this certification on the capstone project, guys. Okay, and if you see here the different, if you go to the live classes here, um, or maybe the assessment section, you see the different capstone projects. Deploying an online movie watching is Stuart already stated all these project statements. So once you complete one of them, you unlock this certificate, guys, that is capstone project certificate. Then you get the coveted PG program certificate. And this is not just from Simplilearn, this is from Caltech University that you get it. So for at the end of every course, you get a certificate. If you complete that course, of course, successfully, you get a certificate from Simplilearn. And then at the end of your program, you get, if you complete all of this successfully, then you get a postgraduate program in cloud computing certificate from Caltech University, Caltech USA. Okay, and of course, this is about the compulsory courses. Now, these are necessary to get your Caltech certificate, of course. But apart from that, guys, if you are interested in getting into electives for no cost extra, right? So you can go into all these electives. So of course, you can see all these electives. You have masterclass that is from the Caltech professors that would be there. Okay, and self-learning again in that, and live class again in that. Okay, wherein you can see the recordings plus the certificate you can unlock. Okay, so after you complete this, and apart from that, guys, in the electives, you have different courses stated like 204, that is Azure developer associate. In that, again, you have assessment and the criteria for certificate also, right? The similar criteria, you have it, plus you have the live classes also. So almost for all of them, you have the live classes in electives also. You have Azure developer associate is at 204, AWS developer associate, AWS SysOps associate, AWS database migration, Google Cloud Platform Architect, then DevOps in AWS, and yeah, of course. So all of these you have it here. Yes, so you can, and all are on the similar lines. Like you have self-learning, you have live classes, you have the labs, you can unlock the certificate. Just that for database migration, you have just the self-learning, and for Google Cloud Platform, you have self-learning only, no live classes. Yeah. So yes, that is there. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And here from you can unlock the PG program in cloud computing certificate if you meet all these criteria. Yeah.
So that's a pretty comprehensive overview, and I'm going to go ahead and move back to and finish up here. So as I mentioned before, we operate under the the executive director of Caltech CTME and the cloud computing program director, CTME. They're the people who make sure that our curriculum is up to date, that they provide the master classes from Caltech, that we're delivering things in a way that Caltech needs them so that they can put their name on their certificate. We're very, again, proud that they've chosen us as their delivery partner. We'll quickly talk about learner outcomes. And Purushottam, people come into this program, a lot of them are coming in with work experience. So they come in from different companies. How does that help in the classroom when people are interacting with different backgrounds?
Oh, so yeah, that actually makes your class interesting because see, when you have people from different domains, their expectations is different and their questions are a bit different, and that makes the other learners to understand the different questions, and from one question that is being asked by one learner, and that is being answered by the instructor. So many people benefit out of it. So because it happens, guys, sometimes we have a question in mind, like I can think of a question, the other people are not thinking of that at that particular point, but then they also don't know the answer to that. So once that is answered by the instructor, so all of us benefit out of it, correct? And when you have people from different domains, so it is like a bit you can say a bit challenging for the instructor sometimes, but then at the same time it is more interesting than challenging, because if the instructor knows all of the things, so he'll be in a good space to answer and to cater to all of the audience. And apart from that, guys, now the point is why you see people from different domains here. So because, guys, cloud is not just for the software engineers, it is not just for information technology industry. As you can see here, it's everywhere, guys, like in entertainment industry, in IT, in e-commerce. Whether you are an entrepreneur, of course you should be having a knowledge on cloud. If you are a manager, then also you should be at least a cloud practitioner, so that you can get into the sales, you can get into the management part of the cloud. So you should have the good understanding on the cloud services. Okay, so it's into information technology, software product, BFSI, it's mentioned here, e-commerce, and even other industries, right? So you see people from different domains, whether it is not an IT company, it is any other company. So they have their infrastructure, like Netflix, like Zomato, like everyone have their infrastructure, like their websites, and they want to manage it, they want the cloud provider to manage it. So of course, it has a scope in all the different domains, in all the different laterals, guys. Yeah.
Thank you. We got a few of the testimonials. You can see a number of them on our website, and I'll share the URL for the program page shortly. But you can see how people have, like Raveen, have leveraged this to help offer additional services and be more of an expert in their digital consultancy work. Rajiv earned a salary hike from certification, as did Jumana, who came back from a career break and was able to get a substantial salary hike. This is a really excellent testimonial to the value of this program, and we hope we can add each of you to this list. To help with that, Simplilearn does offer the I am jobs job assist services. We offer premium membership to their job portal for 6 months after you earn your certificate. So after you unlock the Caltech certificate, you have 6 months to access the IIM Premium Jobs portal. You also have 6 months to access their resume review and rewrite service and their one-on-one interview service, so that you can put your resume into the best possible form, both to pass through the AI bots that'll review it before it gets to a human being, but also to stay in the kind of format that's attractive to the eye of those humans who will see it. And the one-on-one interview service is, of course, important because there's so many different interview types that you have to clear in order to get a new job or a promotion, from phone screens to skills interviews to corporate cultural fit interviews. Being able to practice those with a real human being, it's a big advantage. So this is not a job placement or job guarantee service, but it is a set of services that will help you increase your chances of finding that next job or that salary hike. So based on what we've shared with you so far, are you interested in enrolling in the program? Start the poll. Leave this open just for about 15 seconds, as it's a yes or no question. And I will close the poll in about 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. So almost 3/4 of our audience today are interested in enrolling in the program. Share with you how to accomplish that, with the enrollment steps. The first step is to email us at askus@simplilearn.net. I'm going to put that into the chat here. You can email us at askus@simplilearn.net. If you do go to the program page, you can also contact our learning consultants through that. And the email address and URL are in the chat now. Make sure that you have your appropriate educational background, meaning you've earned a bachelor's degree. Anything else you'd like us to know about your skills and your work history, and then based on that, we offer you admission. The next cohort will start just a few weeks, the orientation on 8 August and the classes on 12 August. So if you are interested, we recommend that you do that as quickly as possible. We try to limit the number of people in each cohort to about 25 or 30 because otherwise the instructors will not have enough time to address the individual concerns of each student. So number of seats is limited, and if you're interested, we recommend that you get started quickly. The cost of the program is 1,59,000 rupee, financing as low as 5,111 rupee per month EMI financing. We offer different denominations depending on if you're in a different country. So if you contact us at askus@simplilearn.net, or if you check our website for your local country, it will tell you what the pricing is and what currency it's denominated. Again, we recommend that you get started as quickly as possible, because if this is something that will improve your life and improve your career, then it's worth doing sooner than later. So on that note, what is the time frame that you're looking at for those of you who are interested? Would you be looking at the August cohort, or are you looking further down the road? And I'll leave this open just another 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. And if I share the results, well more than half of the audience are in the August cohort or starting maybe September, October. And that's fantastic. Please contact us through the program page or through the email address. If you're looking further down the road, do contact us also, because we want to keep in touch with you, let you know about future cohorts, answer any other questions you have. So this would be a good opportunity for you to get pre-prepared for this process. Let's take your questions and answers. Purushottam, do you have some time for this? You're on mute.
Yeah, sure, Stuart. Yes, we can go with it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm taking the questions from the question and answer. If you put your question in the chat, please transfer it over to the question and answer so that we can find it more easily. I have one question from someone who's done AWS Developer Associate. What types of jobs are available now? What are you seeing out in the market for people with that qualification?
You can very well become a developer in any organization, or if you are already working as a software developer, of course, so your organization would be in cloud or would be moving into cloud. So they can just prefer you to be in that role, because if you are already a developer, they would promote you to the AWS Developer Associate out there. Or if you're not a developer there, if you do this, then you can become a developer in any organization, correct? So software developer are the jobs available for AWS Developer Associate.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you comment on what the career is like for cloud DevOps?
Yes, of course. Career path for DevOps in cloud platform. So guys, there is a huge scope, okay? Because gone are the days of waterfall model, wherein you do the complete project and you show it to the client, and then client would suggest you the changes, and you would have to do all those changes all over again. Now is the era of agile environment, correct? So you build your product in parts, and then you test it, deploy it, and show it to your client. So, and then if he okays it, you develop the other part of it, and then again show it to your client. So in this, the life is getting easier. Like, you don't have to rework on the complete project, but in parts only. But then the point here is, what is increasing is the testing part, the deployment. You have to do it again and again. The test, the deployment again has to be done. So all this, if you do it manually, it is cumbersome. It is cumbersome job for you, correct? So this should all be automated, and this has been automated very well with the help of the DevOps tools. Like in your on-premises, you have Jenkins, Terraform, Maven. To do it in cloud, you have their own proprietary tools through which you can do it. You have code commit, you have code pipeline, code deploy in AWS, correct? So for DevOps, there is a huge scope in the market. And if you know DevOps in cloud, the scope even increases more, guys, because your organizations, you are a DevOps engineer, and if your organization is into cloud, so they will opt for DevOps engineers. In fact, there are a lot of trainings also coming for DevOps engineer, training the people on DevOps certification. Yeah, so there's a huge scope.
Thank you for that. We have a question about how people are assessed for eligibility, and I think we've covered basically how that happens. We send us information. We ask you to provide proof of your bachelor's degree status. We may send you a brief assessment questionnaire. Why do we encourage students to join this program? This is a really good entry point for the cloud computing career. So Sai asks, are you actually taught programming in this course, or is that not part of the scope of the course?
No, it is not the part of the scope of this course. We don't teach programming in this course. Okay, so yes, but if you are going with developer certification, like, so then we say that you should have some knowledge on the developer to the programming languages, and then we show you how you can use it in cloud, correct? So teaching programming from the core is not the part of this course. Yeah.
Right. If you have a programming background and want to pursue the developer elective,
yes, then it is helpful. Yes.
Talked about costs. Quickly look through here. Vaibhav asked, one elective or all of them? And just to reiterate, you can take all of them if you wish. You can choose, pick and choose from the list. So it's completely up to you in terms of what interests you. Certainly recommend everyone take the master classes because they're fascinating and they give a lot of interesting insights into the state of the technology and industry. And then based on what you're interested in and what your aptitude is, you can pick the other electives as well. So,
Stuart, I would like to put one more point on this, that why would you encourage students to join this program?
Yes,
so
please.
Because, guys, the cloud is the future, and I've seen people, like right now I'm giving a corporate training for TCS, okay, in Hyderabad. Right now I'm in Hyderabad only, correct? So people like the organizations spend a lot for training their employees, okay, on these cloud platforms for already the employees that they have hired. So just understand, if they are paying so much for getting their employees trained on these cloud platforms, and if they get someone who is already aware of these cloud platforms, who are already into the cloud domain, so why wouldn't they prefer to hire that employee, correct? To hire that person in their organizations, correct? So there is a lot of scope, because organizations are into cloud or moving into cloud, whether these are big organizations like TCS, the employees whom I'm training right now, or whether these are startups. So people are into cloud and they want cloud enabled engineers, okay? So if you are good in cloud, they would always prefer you to higher over the other. So you will have that X factor, not just the X factor. It would become a basic necessity going ahead, right?
Yep. Thank you.
Yes.
We had a question about the cost of the cloud lab access that's included in the program fees. So you do not have to pay anything additional to be able to access the cloud labs, the AWS or Azure accounts. Vaibhav asks, as an auditor, how can this program help and how ensure the organization's cloud security? So how does this work into that aspect of cloud?
Can you come again? Where is that?
Yeah, Vaibhav asks how this program prepares people for addressing cloud security.
Oh, yeah. So, see, cloud security, you will be getting the different services, the firewalls, the cloud security part, even in your admin certification, admin course, whether it is AWS Architect, Azure Admin, Azure Architect. So, you would be taught on the different like the security based services, also the firewalls like security groups, the NACLs, network access control list, okay, and the IAM roles, the policies. So those are all necessary for making your environment secure, for making your IT environment secure, for allowing only the users access to few resources and not all of them. You can learn how you can create guest users so that you can give them only the STS, like the token service. You can create them for some time and then you can delete them. Like, let's say if a client wants to access your AWS environment, so you want to give him access only for some time on some services, and then you just want to don't give him the access after that time. So you can make sure that thing, you can enable the traffic from some ports on your VMs, let's say through security groups, through NACLs. So different aspects of security, of course, are taught, because security is a major concern. Yeah, you would say people feel like in cloud. And let me tell you guys, these major cloud providers have all the things very much secured. They keep your data secured. They keep your data encrypted in transition, in transit, at rest. Okay, there are different encryption mechanisms also possible. So you get to know about the security measures during architect and the admin courses as well. Yeah, so you learn about those services as well.
Okay. And last question is access to the study materials lifetime or for a fixed duration. I believe you can access your program class recordings for 6 months after the time you earn your certificate, but the access to the other self-study materials, I believe, is lifetime access. And you would ask us at simplylearn.net to verify that. So I direct you to those folks for official answer on that question. I do have one last question here. How many clouds do you learn in this program? And you learn AWS and Azure platforms. You have the elective option to study the Google Cloud platforms as well. So with that, I'm going to apologize if we haven't been able to get to your question. We did have a question from somebody who needs enrollment assistance, and we'll reach out to you for that. And let's move on. Speaking of which, for those of you in the audience who are interested in getting started, do you want us to reach out to you proactively? And if you answer yes to this question, one of our learning consultants will get to you directly. And I'll leave this open just for another 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and it's a 50-50 split. So for those of you who answered yes, we will be getting to you directly. The rest of you should expect to hear from us as well, just to see if you have any additional questions and concerns, and to help you if you're interested in enrollment. With that, I want to thank Purushottam for being so generous with his time, with his expertise, taking us through the comprehensive look at our learning management system. So thank you, Purushottam.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Stuart. Same here, Stuart. Always a pleasure.
And I want to thank everyone who has joined us today from all over the world. We've saw at the beginning of the session, we had people from at least 4 different continents. And so it's very exciting. We would love to have you all join us in the Caltech and Simplilearn learning community. And we wish you a successful and prosperous career in cloud computing. So with that completes our webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you.